indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, please. That's okay.
Keep forgetting that. Commissioner Leap.
Here.
Commissioner Gannett.
Here.
Commissioner Kepler.
Here.
Commissioner McCleary.
Here.
Commissioner Long. Online? No?
You just.
Commissioner Long is online.
Okay.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to start the meeting with an announcement that I'm going to read. So before we begin tonight's meeting, I'd like to address a recent article published by the Pocono Review that has generated questions within our community. The Board of Commissioners believes it is important that the public accurately reflect how Pocono Township operates. While we fully respect the freedom of the press and the constitutional right to free speech, those rights carry with them responsibility to report the facts accurately and fairly. When published information contains factual inaccuracies or creates implications that are not supported by the official record, we have an obligation to correct those inaccuracies. First, the Public Works Director and interim township managers do not determine which development, commercial, or infrastructure projects are approved or completed in Pocono Township. Those decisions are made by the Board of Commissioners or by other public bodies acting within the authority granted to them by law. No township employee has unilateral authority to approve or deny such projects. Second, the article references Pocono Mountain Industries, PMI. To the board's knowledge, PMI does not own property within Pocono Township. Therefore, any statement or implication to the contrary is inaccurate. That the previous township manager served for 17 years. That is incorrect. The previous township manager served in that position for approximately a year and a half. Fourth, questions have been raised regarding statements of financial interest. Under Pennsylvania law, these statements are filed annually for the preceding calendar year. Our interim township managers will file their required statements by the statutory deadline, which happens to be May 1st, 2027. In the meantime, the Public Works Director has filed his annual statement as a Public Works Director. Fifth, no individual serving on any township board, commission, or committee has unilateral authority to bind the township or make official decisions on behalf of that body. Township actions occur through votes taken by the appropriate public body and duly advertised meetings as required by law. I also want to address comments concerning Mr. Patrick Briegel. Mr. Briegel is a respected member of our community and township leadership team and has the confidence of this board. His outside business activities have never been hidden from the township. The township has contracted with Mr. Briegel in 2016 and 17, years before he became a township employee, and his outside business interests were fully disclosed. They are also included in his contract. The board was aware of those activities when it later hired him as an employee. Nothing about that relationship was concealed from the township. More importantly, the board values all of its employees. Our employees come to work each day to serve the residents of Pocono Township professionally and with integrity. While public officials and employees should expect scrutiny, they also deserve to have that scrutiny based upon verified facts rather than inaccurate information or unsupported implications. This board will not remain silent when the integrity of our employees is unfairly questioned. The township's official actions are reflected in its meeting minutes, resolutions, ordinances, and other public records. We encourage any resident seeking factual information to review those records, which are available to the public. Finally, I respectfully ask that the Pocono Review to review the factual errors they identified in their ad this evening and to publish an appropriate corrections or retractions where warranted. Accurate reporting benefits not only the township, but also public trust in both the local government and the media. Mr. Briegel has the full support of this board. That will continue on with the agenda. Thank you. Any public comment?
Excuse me, Madam President, point of order. I think you should announce that the board met in executive session
Yes,
prior to this meeting to discuss litigation and personnel.
thank you. We did meet in executive session prior to this meeting to discuss litigation and personnel. Thank you. Any public comment?
Hi, my name is Gianna Leo Falcon. I'm a Pocono Township resident. I know that today the data center ordinances are on the table. I know that all of you know that this is impacting not only Pocono Township, Tobyhanna, Smithfield, Archbold, Allentown. Industry is coming for Pennsylvania in a way that I don't think we quite understand. And we do not really understand the impact long term. We can't possibly know that without scientific studies. I know that right now in legislation, you are not able to deny a location to a business or a business type. However, what we can do, and I really urge you guys to look into this, especially Leo DeVito, I urge you to look into this, please, that we might have leverage in requiring scientific studies to be done on environmental impact as well as safety to human life if data centers were to come into our area, and that we want a moratorium until these studies have been conducted. That is totally within our breadth to do. And I encourage us to really look into this, because data centers, if we allow one, we're going to set a precedence for the area and it will destroy the Poconos. I can't even begin to like explain to you how that feels inside of my body. I am a mother of 2 small children. I moved here for environmental nature and reprieve from a major city. I do not want to see our environment destroyed, especially for our children. And I really implore you guys, we do have leverage legally to request scientific studies that will never prove their safety, and therefore we can deny them based on those facts. So that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? In the back there?
Hi, my name's Donna McMahon. I live in Pocono Township, and I'm here about the library. But first of all, I'd like to thank all you guys. I certainly wouldn't want to be seated here and try to do as much work as you do, and I really appreciate everything. As far as the library goes, I have tomorrow morning there is a trustees meeting, and I noticed under old business is Pocono Township, and that's how it's listed. And I was just wondering if the trustees have had any kind of communication with any of the commissioners to kind of get to a resolution. Right now, we're taking in about $200,000 for a bookmobile that meets at Northampton for 2 hours a month. We can do better. I know we can if we work together. And I just don't know. I just was wondering if there was any communication, or if you wanted to provide me with some communication that I can take with myself when I go down to the meeting tomorrow morning.
I'm not aware of anything. Are you, Natasha? But Charles has been communicating with them.
Well, I had reached out to the board of directors. She said she was going to, to ask if we could, schedule a meeting. She said she had forwarded my request along to the board of trustees. I have not heard back yet, but I imagine that they may be discussing that at their next public meeting. And so, hopefully, they'll be maybe deciding to speak with us more. So I'm hopeful. And definitely, I think you have my contact information. You can find it on the website. Please let me know what you find out at the meeting. I'll see if I can
bother you guys. I really don't.
No, please.
But
Like, this is something I care about a lot.
meetings and you have enough. But I really thank you for that. And I thank every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Claire?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with
Claire Learn, resident of Pocono Township, Marianne Gussit, Pocono Township. We are residents here, and on behalf of those who care about Grace Church Chapel and the Tannersville Union Cemetery, located at the corner of 715 and Sullivan Trail, this is more than just a piece of property. It is a place of history, of faith, of remembrance. Families have entrusted this cemetery with their loved ones for generations. The chapel and its historic cornerstone dated 1835 represent an important part of our community heritage. We understand that improvements are important, but progress shouldn't come at the expense of our local history and the dignity of those laid to rest here. We have been informed that the Grace Church Chapel and its historic cornerstone dated 1835 will have to be moved as part of this project. For many of us, this is just moving a building. It is relocating an important part of our community's history and the identity of the Tannersville Union Cemetery. Our concern is that the cemetery's access and parking are taken without preserving permanent public access. Families could face increasing difficulty visiting their loved ones, and the long-term future of their historic cemetery could be at risk. On a side note, if anybody is willing to help us with moving the chapel or rebuilding it into the cemetery, we would appreciate all you can help. You can contact me or Marianne via Facebook. The PennDOT people, we met with them, and this is ironic, where the chapel is and the cornerstone, they want to now put in a 5th lane. They had first told us they wanted the parking lot and the entrance to the cemetery as a right-of-way. While we had our meeting at the cemetery with them and Arrow Land Solutions, that's when they said they want to put a 5th lane in. I said to the guy, you haven't even finished building the bridge and you want to add another lane? He also said they want to straighten the road out. What is PennDOT with the straightening of the roads? They want to straighten it out. They are closing Sullivan Trail up to crossings. They claim they're going to put us a little entrance because that land that they're closing is coming back to the church. We are the 2 active members of the church. And we are making sure we're going to go down with a fight, because it's a law. 50 years after the last person is buried, that's when they can desecrate a cemetery. PennDOT has a loophole. If they need to build a roadway to the crossings, because that's what he said, we need to build a road to the crossings. You have Sullivan Trail. Why build through why desecrate a cemetery? But if they have to use it for water and sewer, let them use Sullivan Trail for water and sewer to the crossings, because the man that bought the church, he has to hook up to the water and sewer. Well, thank you for the opportunity of us to speak, because we would like to have some help from the community and our board here. Somebody have to do something with preserving some of the history. I know I'm past my 3 minutes, Ellen.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Thank you. Pat, do we have any PennDOT plans of what they're doing over there? Because this is the first I've heard. You have them? Okay.
This is the first I've heard of a change to the plan with an additional taking, so I can try to inquire on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Joe? I'm sorry, Betsy. Joe had his hand up first.
I'll be brief. Joe Folsom, Henryville. What's the story with the construction at 715 anyway? It seems to have stopped. They pulled all the machinery out. It's just nothing's going on except major traffic jams.
Yeah, many people have asked me, and I don't know if we know that answer. John, would you happen to know, or?
First I knew it was when I came up here tonight and I saw there was nothing going on, so.
It's been a long while.
It's been a couple of weeks now since the
Yeah.
machinery's been gone, and it's been raised, the questions have been raised on Facebook. I thought they were setting poles for, line transfers and stuff, wire transfers, but they've pulled everything out.
Joe, the only thing I know is PennDOT had their subcontractor come in. They were working on the traffic lights.
Right.
That's several weeks ago.
Right.
Since that time, it's been several weeks.
Yeah, well, they did have the linemen there setting poles.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe they're running the wires and stuff, but there's still ways to work without getting in there.
There's still a lot of dirt to be moved. it looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
I mean, I can reach out to them and try to.
If you have a contact, yeah,
I do,
please.
yeah.
Many people have asked me.
Sure.
I know
Yep.
it's
That's
not
it.
always, but thanks, Joe. Betsy.
Hi, Betsy Cashano, 198 Staten Road, Pocono Township. Hi, everybody. So I have two things I want to address. First thing I want to say is thank you so much for standing up for Patrick. I read that article and it was just floored me. So I'm glad that you brought it to our attention and that you guys are standing behind him. He's amazing. So the second thing I want to ask is sort of what Joe just said about the intersection. The same thing is going on Staten Road. I live on 198. You know where I live. And right across the street is where they're putting in the pumping station for, I guess, the warehouse for the sewer line. And they're boring under the creek next on my neighbor's property. They took all the trees down there. It was a big, giant, like a beehive of workers doing all kinds of things dead. Like they all pulled out of there. And I'm just wondering if they're waiting for permits or something, or if they've changed their mind, or if things are still the same as they were before, or if something has changed. Are you aware of anything that's changed?
I'm not aware of any changes. I was actually there today.
Right.
I actually met Cheryl Parks and looked at a concern that she had along the right of way.
Okay.
I noticed that there wasn't any activity with the pump station.
Hasn't been activity in at least a week. Yeah.
I also noticed, and I reported to our engineer, I sent an email this afternoon, that the road surface on Staten, the temporary road surface is really in poor repair.
It's like a vibrator
It's
when you're
terrible.
driving up it.
I agreed. I was
Yeah.
surprised. It's gotten worse.
It's like they left before they tied it up or tidied it up or whatever.
Don, have you heard anything from?
Yes, I actually spoke to the site super for Pentex after I got your email. I asked him about the construction of the temporary road, which is what it is, along for bringing this water and sewer down, and he verified it was only temporary. It will be removed and it will be topsoiled and seeded and restored once that's done. I didn't know that activity had stopped on Staten Road, but I did bring it to his attention that the patch job was pretty rough. And he said he would look into it. I didn't get a real warm and fuzzy feeling that he was going to do a whole lot, but
It
he
looked
did.
like they ran out of money, honestly.
And
I don't.
I hope
I'm
they
sure
never
they
have
didn't.
money now because they have a lot to do.
I know.
Uh,
I'm sure they didn't. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. It looks
But
like
he
they
did
just
say he
stopped.
would meet with you and I, Pat,
Okay.
to discuss it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
My next question is about your what you're voting on tonight. And I just wrote it down because I stink at memory. My property at 198 Staten Road is bordered by Core 5 on two sides. To the left where Route 80 is, then Core 5. Across the street is Core 5. And to the right is my neighbor, who I love, by the way. But he's got 52 acres. And it looks to me like the glamping is not going in anymore. They're selling their Alger Avenue property. They sold their Mount Pocono property. So I don't know. I don't think their plans are to do the glamping anymore. It's like he even told me that he doesn't think he's going to do it. So I have 3 enormous parcels surrounding me. And then I'm hearing that there's a new overlay district going in for data centers. So I feel free to correct me. Okay. But let me finish first, if you don't mind. I was involved in the Enterprise Park overlay, which they did because the warehouse was trying to go in across the street, and we were given certain things that helped me feel protected. And I wasn't gonna. I know that's my bell, right? I'm almost done. I want to know. My questions are: can you confirm whether the protections the existing homeowners relied upon when the Enterprise Park overlay district was adopted remain unchanged after tonight's vote? Is my first question.
Tonight's vote takes the data center overlay off of the warehouse, Core 5 warehouse, and down 715, and it only puts it in industrial zones. Correct me if I'm wrong, Leo.
No, you're correct. The whole object of the amendment is to limit data centers to the industrial zones in the township.
Okay, thank you. And is the ordinance only changing performance standards for data center, or does it affect where they can be located? But I think you just answered that
Yes.
question.
Just
Because it's
just
industrial.
location.
Okay. I think that answered my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cheryl.
Yeah, my question.
Cheryl Parks, I've been a taxpayer for 39 years. I just wanted to say, I wanted to really thank Mr. Briegel and Mr. Wagner for stepping up and doing the job they do. Mr. Briegel came out today and is right on it. And I'm just really grateful that you guys are doing this, and I really thank you for doing it. Mr. McCreary, welcome. I just wanted to, Betsy asked a bunch of my questions that I had. And John, you answered my question that I had, so that's good. I just wanted to ask here, I'm glad we're doing this thing finally with the data centers. And I'm hopefully going forward with this board, and I have a lot of, very optimistic that we can stop doing a bunch of removals of variances and other things that have been done that have caused, for one thing, the warehouse to go in, because if the variance hadn't been removed, they couldn't have gone in. Mr. McCreary, I would like you to take a ride up to Kevin's Way, which is off of Wagner Road. And you could see first off of Warner Road, but it's on Kevin's Way. And that community and my community, which is Ruby Lane, were totally decimated by this warehouse thing. And it was because there were no buffers put on there. I feel so sorry for those people. 87 acres, I think, of old growth forest was removed. Not this board, but previous boards left no buffer whatsoever behind those people's property. So they've had floods, they've had wind. So now the solution is to put a block wall up there. Just that two communities have been totally decimated is just appalling to me. And I know this board didn't do it, but I'm hoping going forward, we could be a little more thoughtful with what variances are removed and what aren't. Right now I have like no privacy at all. I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully they're done blasting and I can find out if they're going to do any more next to me. But between that and the kennel, the business that was allowed to come in on our private road, I feel like we've been under attack for like 4 years. So hoping we have a lot of really good people on this board. And I want to thank all of you. And hopefully we can be a little more transparent now and speak a language that we all speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Jim?
Good evening. I just want to address something that was said by a previous commissioner, an extension of what this young lady spoke about with data centers. And that is data centers are not the boogeyman. Okay. And I'll give them that. The traditional legacy data centers, they're all around us. They fit nicely in the industrial areas, and they are not the boogeyman. But that's not what we're looking at. And that's not today's reality. So I'd like to remove the term data center and properly phrase it as hyperscale data center, because that's what we're up against. Now, if you have, and I know there are no plans right now, no proposals, nobody's looking to put one in, that's fine. I have a couple of things I want addressed on the data center ordinance. Will there be time to speak during the data center thing?
Yes.
About the data center ordinance itself?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I'll save it for that.
Time limit on the hearing.
What's that?
There's no time limit on the hearing.
Wow. That's a mistake. So I just want to be clear that and I've attended a data center meeting in Gouldsboro. I've attended several at Kalahari. And when the actual subject of data centers come up, this room would not hold the amount of people that are going to show. Okay. And again, it's not because we're anti-data center. We're anti-hyperscale data center, and that's what we're all fighting against. And I want to say, John, nice job in the ordinance. I got a couple of things, but nothing that you didn't cover. You did a nice job. Thank you very much. Welcome, Dan. And, oh, the other thing. Yeah, I got a couple minutes. Lucky you. The other thing is that I feel we're at a tipping point here in Pocono Township, and the 611 corridor is all zone commercial. I mean, that's a given. It's all owned by private investors, and eventually those investors are going to look to cash out. We really have to pay attention to the amount of building that we have along the corridor. We've got 350 apartments going in, 352 townhomes, at least 2 hotels that I know of, the event center and a retail space, okay? All dumping the 611. I attended both of the survey meetings, and none of them could tell me how many cars they figure per dwelling. Twice. Next time, it's not going to be that pretty. I'm going to hit them with it. But I just kind of walked away. For every dwelling, you have to have a number of how many cars you're anticipating being in that dwelling, even if the number is 1, which I think is low. You have to have that number. There are only 2 spots on 611 that currently meet the criteria for the flow of traffic that they have right now. Okay? And then we're looking at like some 4-lane divided highway, whatever. Anyway, please keep that in mind as we move forward. Now, we do need to throttle this. You can't stop it. I understand that. Just throttle it. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, Tim Harrison, Pocono Township. I was looking for a status on the zoning. It was said that you're updating the entire zoning ordinance. Is that correct? Is there some prognosis on as to when that was going to take place?
We are working on it.
That's so I've heard.
Monday. Oh, possibly. Yeah.
Is it up to the zoning people to put that forward? Or is it up to you to push?
It's still in
It's
progress.
us. Yeah. We're meeting with the planning commission and our consultant. It was a
Is there,
2.5 years, 3-year now probably process.
yeah, could we have a little sense of urgency interjected into that or?
Well,
Or are we waiting for it to be too late?
no, it's urgent, but there's a lot to it. Yeah.
I would just say it's not the kind of thing you want to rush.
No, I understand that, but I don't see any rush. You know, we had 3 or 4 different revisions on that map. Has there been any progress as to what's going to be finalized?
That's what we're discussing, the finalization.
You're discussing the finalization.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that'll be next Monday, the 27th at 5 p.m. That meeting on the zoning for anyone who'd like to attend.
Yes, here. Any other public comment? Anybody online? No.
Madam President, I received a text message that Commissioner Long is in attendance. Commissioner Long, could you verify your attendance, please?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I was having technical difficulties during roll call, but I've been on from the beginning.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leo.
And I have one more announcement. I would like to welcome Dan and have everybody welcome Dan to the board. And first up, we have a quarterly presentation. Is Gina here? No. Okay. I didn't see her.
Hello.
Hello.
I apologize for not being here the last 2 meetings. I was a little under the weather. So the treasurer's report for the first quarter of 2026. For the revenue, we'll go over the revenue first, it started off a little slow, but we did
outperform from last year's numbers. So and we are going forward with grants. I'm working with Bridget very closely and Pat to get the grants coming in for the capital reserve, because that's a very important part of our income. And then moving on to the expenses, even though they are a little bit higher than last year's at quarter one, we're still under 25% of the budget, like overall for each fund. So I feel like we didn't have a lot of expenses in the first quarter of 2026. Does anyone have any questions?
I had sent some questions in. I wasn't going to go through.
I did get your budget questions and I did make a couple of comments. So if you want to go over that whenever you want to.
I didn't expect to do it at the meeting, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it whenever
Anybody
you need
else have
to.
any questions for Gina? No?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Louise Troutman from Pocono Heritage Land Trust.
Hi.
Hi, Louise.
I made 3 copies, so you're all gonna need to share.
We share. Charles and I will share. You can touch it. Yeah.
So in your packet is a copy of our stewardship manager's application for a sign. There's also pictures of the sign and a copy of the sign drawings. We call it a kiosk, and we put them up at our nature preserves throughout the county. So they are 3 big posts like that, and then there are 2 sections to it. It's plywood on the back, and then there's a little roof on the top of it that hangs over a little bit on each side. And we put a big sign, it's usually 3x4, with the preserve name on one side and something about the funders. And then on the other side is a locking plexiglass cabinet, and we print up a trail map of the property, and that's what we put on that side. So we've done these all over the county. And this one came with a $404.50 fee for this sign application. I guess because it was a building permit. And so I didn't know if we put it in incorrectly and someone thought that we were going to be putting plumbing and lighting and whatever else on there, but it literally is 3 sticks in the ground and some plywood and a nice little roof. So I wanted to know, please, 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 if you might consider waiving that or at least bumping it down a little bit. I think Paradise Town just whacked us 50. They wouldn't waive it, but pretty much everybody else that we've had to ask for has waived it. Throwing a little guilt your way.
I don't really have a problem waiving it myself. Does anybody else?
I'll make the motion to waive the zoning fee of $404.50 for the Pocono Heritage Land Trust.
Just a little bit of a correction there. It is for the building permit application. So it is for a building permit. That's the service that SFM does. That's a contract you guys have with SFM. It just depends how, obviously, you guys have those fees. If the township wants to incur those fees from SFM, it's kind of up to you guys.
Is it $404.50 for a sign?
Yes, it's the minimum commercial zoning permit.
Should we have applied for a sign permit instead?
It's the same blanket permit. It's a building permit.
Wow.
Yes.
I'll second that motion. Kind of, we're in the middle there. But for discussion, I don't have a problem with it. Dan, how do you feel?
Okay.
I mean,
what is SFM doing that costs $404?
That's the township fee schedule that it's based off of. I don't have discretion on changing that. It's based on the Board of Commissioners. It's the standard minimum fee for all commercial permits.
So just for understanding, I believe this is how it works. We charge the fee from the people pay us, and then we pay SFM a percentage of that fee, not the entire fee. I think that's how it works, right?
Based on the project, a permit fee goes out. They pay for that permit. They provide the check to the township. SFM invoices the township based on a percentage of all the fees that come in within a month.
So we're going to forgo their income and we're going to pay SFM our percentage. That's what we're ultimately doing. And it's minimal, I think.
Can we waive the permit and just say they can put up the sign?
It's a state law, so I don't think you have the authority to waive a building permit. I kind of defer.
But
to
is it
Lynn.
a structure? We're not building like a shed.
Unfortunately, the way the PAUCC is laid out, which is the Uniform Construction Code, we have to inspect it to make sure that it will meet all life safety requirements.
I will not give you a list of other municipalities that have not required permits.
And if I could just say that Pocono Heritage Land Trust in Louise has been very cooperative with
They're
Pocono.
partners. Yeah.
We've worked together. She actually helped us with an easement. So
yep,
that's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
And right back at you. So thanks for all your help. Robert Meter Preserve is looking awesome and we're getting lots of nice feedback on it. And the family loves the boulder with the plaque they brought. One of you, I printed 3 different pictures in there, but one of those pictures that looks like those shiny, happy family people, those are the 2 older women are the ones that helped donate the Robert Meter Preserve. And one of them has cancer. And so they all came up and they took all pictures around it and they're happy. So thanks.
Is there any public comment?
Oh, I want to talk to the person who has those big parcels.
Anybody online? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you so much.
Oh. Did Matt have something to say?
No, I'm a yes on this.
Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. I'm not sure what the next one is. S. Graham's Esquire, 1328 Golden Slipper Road sign alternative.
Madam President, the representatives for Golden Slipper Lehigh Valley Hospital were here before us before they're proposing 2 signs. One is on Route 80. I was instructed not to oppose that application, but the application for the sign along 611 leading to Golden Slipper was found to be objectionable by the township. My understanding is, and I'll let council address it, but my understanding is they want to take another crack showing you the minimum relief they believe is necessary and see if whether or not the board would agree to not have me oppose. I think that's fair.
That is correct. Thanks. My name is Pete Lear. I'm an attorney. I'm the law partner of Graham Simmons. I understand that we were before you the last time on June 15th. As correctly stated, we presented 2 signs related to a variance application that is scheduled to be heard later this month. Receiving feedback on the monument sign, we had a chance to go back and make some changes to what was proposed. As you may be aware, there's an existing signage on Route 611 that has had some difficulties, and there have been some complaints regarding the size and the ability to identify the entrance to the hospital. So what we'd like to do fairly quickly tonight is just to present the changes from the previous version that you had seen in an effort to see if that would change your mind and therefore withdraw the direction to the solicitor to go on before the zoning hearing board and oppose that particular signage variance.
Yeah, I just have a question. The sign that's there now is not the sign.
No, there is a monument sign on 611 currently with which there have been complaints related to how it is. So we would be proposing to get zoning relief associated with a new sign. We came before you with a proposal. I understand that there was some negative feedback about that. So what we're trying to do is just to show you what the proposal will be when we go before the zoning hearing board.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So with that, I'm joined by Ed Reed of Reed Signs, who is the principal individual who is developing signs for Jefferson Health System, and also is Olivia Spatala, who is with the network. I'd like to just, maybe it's best with the whiteboard, the first one, just the first one there. Yes, the 12th. No, it's difficult to see on the screen, but if you could show it to everybody, you can see exactly where Okay. Yeah, if you want to just. So what that shows is, and this remains unchanged, but you can see the location of where the proposed sign is going to be located, and it is at the intersection of Golden Slipper Road and Route 611. The purpose of the monument sign is obviously to serve as a directional sign for people traveling both north and southbound on Route 611. What you can also see there is the with a sign that is now being proposed. And as you can tell, it is more vertically oriented and in a different manner intended to allow motorists who are on 611 to identify where the entrance is, particularly the emergency entrance of that. So I'm just going to go through the other whiteboards that we have. So if you want to, it's the same location as the existing sign. I do have printouts. If you would like, I can pass them along. I'm only identifying or talking about a couple of those slides, but what you'll see is everything.
See that. I don't. This is just.
Yeah, that was just principally to show where the site is. Yeah. So let me again, part of the reason why we're coming before you is the sign itself has been changed, and hopefully this is a little easier to see. The location or the site plan was difficult, but as you can see, there's a day and a night view there. The day view, as you can see, is limited. It's vertically oriented. Obviously the intent is to identify the location of the emergency. And then my understanding is the nighttime view, what may be a little bit misrepresented there, if you will, is that I think the red light for the emergency will also be lit, but basically everything else is going to be the white lettering that's on the sign during the nighttime. So it's not intended to be illuminated in a manner that would distract drivers or anything such as that.
The only thing that lights is the lettering, and the good thing about that is not the whole sign glows at night, but the other thing is it's because the whole sign doesn't glow, the content that's important to read, you actually can. But as Peter said, when we did the rendering, the emergency band, which is one of the most important, if not the most important part of the sign, will light red, but everything else is depicted correctly on this.
Okay. Then what we'd also like to show you was the two, how it will look from Route 611, and we'll do both a north and a southbound view, and we'll sort of show you why why it has to be, or why we're proposing it to be oriented differently. This is, I believe, this is the northbound view. The top view is what we are proposing now. As you can see with the vertical orientation, it's more easily identifiable for people who are traveling northbound. Whereas on the existing sign, which is the lower panel there, it's very difficult to see because it's more horizontally oriented. So hopefully that can give you a better sense of what we're proposing in terms of revised signage to the existing sign.
Can you bring that?
Yeah, could you
so
bring
we
that
can-
forward? Yeah.
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 No,
that-
yeah, that's fine.
Also making copies of packet papers.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Another. So, the lower.
Oh, come on.
I mean, it's rough, but like we're showing a approach, right? What the cars see. We have another view coming the other way.
Is that now? Oh, that's
Yeah,
now, and
this
that's
is-
what you want?
This is what you're seeing now.
Mhm.
This is what we're proposing, and we took a lot of the feedback from the board in terms of they felt like maybe the sign the design could have been looked at a little closer, so we did that.
I don't think it was the design.
It was the size.
Right, and then we
you're-
also
yeah.
reduced the size. So
You're
what we
not 3 times
proposed
bigger
bef-
than now.
what we
Yeah.
proposed before to the board was 195 square feet, and we've reduced the size to 150. And also there was maybe some feedback. Again, I wasn't here the last meeting of the sign. Potentially, can we move it back a little further from the road? With this design, we can, because it's narrower, not as wide as what we had proposed before. You guys,
I see.
we have another view from the other direction that you can see probably a little closer. We're gonna just see there. So here's a view as you're heading, I guess it's southbound on Route 611. Here's the existing sign. And this location here. And here's what we propose.
So it's just saying it's literally hiding down.
Yeah.
The sign is 20 foot high. But there is, what I understand, that there's an ordinance that there has to be at least 3 foot clearance from the bottom of the sign to the grade. So we have the sign more oriented that way than real wide in this direction. There was also some concern about blocking the view of some other signs. So we felt like the narrower view would work better.
Can you see it, Dan?
Didn't pass me.
Oh, okay.
So the proposed sign would be 20 feet high. So
Yes.
from
Yes. The originally proposed was 15, but it was also 5. Just the beach.
So as you're looking at the handouts, we, and as mentioned by Ed, again, the size has been reduced. But we are constrained by the fact that it does need to be a certain clearance above grade. And the additional comment that we want to make sure that you're aware of is that the hospital has started to receive complaints about the location of that sign. And it does relate primarily to the inability of people to see where the entrance to the hospital is. One of the comments, and I'm quoting here, is, quote, need a bigger sign for the Martinsville site. I drove past it 4 times before I finally found it. And that was not an isolated comment. We did receive others. And I think Olivia's here. Is that correct?
Hi. So Pocono Creek is a neighborhood hospital. It's difficult to care for the neighborhood when they can't find us. People don't come to the ER most of the time because they want to. So it's more difficult for them to even drive there if they can't see where they're going in a heightened sense of anxiety that they're already coming in with. A larger sign would help them to find their way there and help ease some anxiety that they already have coming in.
So I've seen other hospitals have those little blue signs, like out on the highway, they say hospital this way, and they're very small, but they're obviously they work because we've been using them. A lot of the space on this sign is really just your name, Lehigh Valley. I mean, I get the emergency part with the arrow, but I don't. It's very tall, and our ordinance, John or Leo or Pat, whoever knows the ordinance, we say a 50-foot square foot. Sorry, Paul, it's you. 50 square foot. But does that matter how high it is?
It does, depending on the type of sign. If we consider a freestanding sign versus a monument sign versus an on-premises or off-premises sign, there are different rules and regulations. So that was one of the discrepancies on the application that came in versus what they were requesting. They are calling it a monument sign. Our ordinance says it needs to be, a monument sign is at the access point of the property. The zoning office made the determination that that sign would have to be at the Golden Slipper entrance to be considered a monument sign. Otherwise, it'd be a freestanding sign, kind of how the existing sign is. So a freestanding sign is 50 feet, I believe a maximum height of 13. I'd have to double check that number though.
I would just say, I think like, like Ellen was saying, one of the retroreflective hospital signs that are like standard, road signs, I think that that would be fine. I think that the sign there is perfectly fine.
So Ed, were you saying that you think it's 15 feet? Because yeah. Yeah, the previous sign in terms of height was 16 feet, 8 inches, if I'm mistaken. So now it's 20 feet, but that's for purposes of elevating it so it's more visible to people traveling on 611.
15 feet is the maximum height for a freestanding sign.
Yeah, so it's 5 feet difference. Is that correct? If we're proposing at 20 feet, it's a 5 foot difference for the height.
So Paul, do you know how high the Giant Plaza sign is?
The Giant, the Knights Inn, like what's our comparison?
The Knights Inn, off the top of my head, I believe is close to 15. The Giant sign is probably taller. I'd have to pull the permit. That was before I started here.
Monument sign, correct? So, yeah, because it'll be at the direct access point.
So there's monument sign, the definitions are a little, some signs can be both a monument sign and a freestanding sign. It just depends, and we give the benefit to the applicant. In that case, I believe a monument sign is actually shorter. But
so again, the intent here tonight, we know you have other things on the agenda and we don't want to take up your time, but we did want to have the opportunity to come back with a revised sign to see if it changed your mind in terms of authorizing the solicitor to go and oppose our request before the zoning hearing board. Again, we're trying to work with you to try to address it. We've reduced the size. We've learned that it's about a 5 foot variance in terms of the height. But as you saw with the views from the road, and as Olivia said, we're getting complaints about it. And so what's existing there is not meeting what we feel is the public need to identify where the location is.
Complaints from people or from the ambulance squad can't find you? I mean, the ambulance knows where you are, right?
So most of our patients are actually personal vehicle. We only see about 5 ambulances a month. Our ambulance volume is nowhere near what St. Luke's or Pocono sees. All of our people come in POV.
Do we know how high the Colonial Auto sign is?
I believe it's taller. I would have to, again, look that up. I will say the one kind of issue they have is they have that new like split stop sign at the end of Golden Slipper. And when cars kind of stack up there, it blocks a sign coming from north going south on 611.
I believe one of the views actually shows a truck.
Yeah.
In front of the sign.
Yeah, but you
So
can see the.
a smaller sign may be more appropriate than a larger sign. It just depends on obviously zoning hearing board and if the board wants to take a position or not.
I believe southbound view shows what's likely to be a vehicle even being blocking about half the sign.
Yeah, just the half with the name of the hospital on it, not the emergency part. The emergency part's perfectly visible, and that's a pretty big truck there. So
Yeah, well, I guess, when is the hearing? Or it's not scheduled?
July 28th is when the hearing is scheduled.
I personally think it's still too high itself, but I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
I agree. I think what they have now is fine.
What do you think, Dan?
Just out of curiosity, if you feel that it's too high and we're talking about a difference of 5 feet between what is permitted and what we're asking, are we talking about a 2.5 foot? What would you, we're trying to be accommodating, so you have to tell us. Would you not oppose it if we were asking for 3 feet instead of 5 feet?
Well, I think it's 50 foot and you have 150 feet, right? That's 3 times.
We're talking about the gross surface area. I was talking about the height. We're proposing a 20-foot high, and that's part of the zoning relief. I didn't ask about 100 feet. Maybe you're opposed to that as well, but I think it seemed like it was too high. It was your comment.
So you had indicated that the current sign's you think it's 15 feet or right around there, and then the new proposed is 20? Yeah, so that split in that picture does not look like 5 feet.
No.
The 5 feet, I think, is between what is permitted
Yes.
and what we're asking.
Permitted is 15 feet tall maximum. They're requesting per the plans 20. The existing, I believe, is close to the maximum. I'd have to pull the permits to check. And that is a rendering, so it may not be exact. I do know both the Giant Plaza and the Colonial Auto are taller. Just looking at the Giant Plaza sign, it's probably 20 to 25 feet tall compared to where the power lines are. And that's on the same side, relatively close. That is a plaza sign versus a freestanding sign, which is another difference in sign and gives them additional height, but
So different regulations on that sign.
that John does make a point. That may have been a pre-existing nonconformity. It may have been different previously.
So, me personally, I think it's too high. However, I think for me to not be opposed to it, where the emergency sits in the red, that seems to be a good height from both directions. And it potentially could be a compromise of what our ordinance says versus what would be allowed. Because if you look where the top emergency sits, it sits right above our blue sign, right along the roof lines. And if you look at it from both directions, that would be my compromise. Probably. Because I understand your point too. When you're coming from this direction, it's kind of hidden. And at that point, you need to be above, the line of sight. You need to be above a truck that may be in front of you, those kinds of things. So I agree that your sign's pretty hidden now, but I also think it's a design issue on how it's hidden too. If the red emergency is at the top, so like this picture here, that red sticks out like a sore thumb. So maybe putting emergency at the top would help too.
So we're going now from 150, no, not 150. 20 feet down to, what did we saying, 17 feet?
I have no idea. I'm just saying, that head of the Jackson House. It's probably 2 feet-ish.
The only problem with that is like the hospital, you want people to find you. I get that. But we deal with signs all the time and we've told people 50 square feet is it. A lot of people would have liked to have 150 square feet of sign and we said no. And now we're saying yes.
I don't think anyone's saying yes. I'm just trying to figure out that the whole goal is the emergency room. That's what needs to be visible.
Right.
I mean, potentially too, if the square footage is an issue, sorry, my mic's on. If the square footage and the face is an issue, I mean, there seems to be, no offense, there seems to be quite a bit of wasted space on that sign. You have Jefferson Health at the top, and then you have the Lehigh Valley,
Pocono Creek.
Pocono Creek campus. It's, if you want the sign to be elevated because you want that line of vision, in my opinion, you might want to take off some of that bottom too and move that up. So essentially you'd have the stilts, your sign would be higher, still be compliant. You'd get what you need because you need to be above that sight line. And it would shrink the overall square footage of that sign too. Instead of it going all the way to the ground, you're losing that space anyway. Start it 5 feet up, whatever it is. But I understand what you're saying too. It's
right. A lot of people would love 150 feet sign, and we said no. Yeah.
Yeah, we, just for awareness, I mean, regulatory compliance, we have to have the name of it on there. In other words, we have, and so, yeah.
But a lot of times you use LVH, right? On a lot of things you use LVH, and this is all spelled out a couple lines.
Yeah, not anymore with the merger. So we have to be, as I said, it has to have the name of the facility on it. And again, what I gather from the input that we're receiving is that if we used it at the emergency, cutting off 2 to 3 feet, that at least the height might be okay. I'm not talking for everybody. I'm just trying to see if there's a way that we can come up with a solution there. But if that's the height,
I could compromise on the height myself, but the 150 feet, I don't know that it needs to be that big when we say no to others. So I'm guessing we can move on. You can go to the zoning hearing board. I mean, they will ultimately decide, I guess, but I mean, Natasha, you want it brought down, right? A little bit, the height or the whole thing, the size.
I personally think it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think it's too high. I think the face of it at 150 square feet, there's so much wasted space where I understand compromise, but shrinking that footprint, I think would be a better option. They could still get what they need and they're closer to being compliant with our ordinance.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna land. Well, how about you, Charles?
Yeah, no, I think we have an ordinance in place regarding the size of signs, and we should expect everyone to follow it.
Dan, do you have an opinion?
I understand the ordinance and we already heard today about, not giving too many variances. I do think a hospital sometimes has a, you do want people to know where it's at. If somebody has an emergency, I think it's important that they are able to find it. So I would probably be able to come up with some compromise, but I agree with the rest of the board that, the 20 feet and 150 feet are probably something that I would not be supportive of to make those changes.
Thank you. So Leo, I guess we still need you to attend and.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the understanding that perhaps if what was presented was a lesser sign.
Oh, yeah. I mean, compared to what the board first saw, I think it was 194 square feet. It was massive. It was tall. I'm not sure how tall it was. I mean, certainly I don't want to speak for the board, but there's been a lot of effort put into trying to redesign this sign to something that's less objectionable to the board. You heard the board's comments this evening as to, respecting the inroads that you've made, but they still are requiring that I show up and oppose the application.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have a hearing for the data center ordinance amendment. I'm going to make a motion to open the hearing.
Second.
Second by Natasha. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Matt?
Aye.
Leo? I guess it's to you.
Thank you, Ellen. Yes, tonight we're having a public hearing on an amendment to the existing Pocono Township data center ordinance, the original ordinance as approved by this Board of Commissioners, provided that data centers were permitted both in the industrial zone of the township and also under the newly formed data center overlay district, which generally speaking mimics the warehouse ordinance and the locations contained in those. Tonight before the board is an amendment to the existing township ordinance. That amendment eliminates the data center overlay district and permits data centers with all of the existing regulations, rules, etc., solely in the township's industrial zone. As part of the record, I would like to make the following documents. Township number 1 would be the affidavit of publication in the Pocono Record indicating that tonight's zoning hearing was advertised twice, once on July 2nd, 2026, and the second time on July 9, 2026. Number 2, Township 2 is a certification of posting signed by Paul Morgan indicating that the affected properties, not only in the industrial zone, but also in the data center overlay district, were properly posted in a conspicuous location by Mr. Paul Morgan, Pocono Township Administrator. Township Exhibit number 3 are photographs of the postings on each of the subject properties that are the subject of tonight's hearing. Township number 4 are copies of letters sent to the individual landowners, both in the overlay district and the industrial zone, notifying them of the amendment being proposed and providing them with a copy of the amendment. Township number 5 is a letter from attorney Lisa Pereira to the township commissioners indicating that the proposed amendment was reviewed by the Pocono Township Planning Commission and the proposed amendment is recommended for enactment by the Board of Commissioners. Township number 6 is a letter from the Monroe County Planning Commission from Christine Meinhardt Fritz, dated July 6, 2026, with their comments. And their closing comment is that the staff has reviewed the proposed amendments and recommends they be adopted, subject to the above noted comments. And bear with me for half a moment. From a technical procedural matter, I believe that this amendment has been properly advertised. The properties affected have been properly posted. Review has been done by both the Monroe County Planning Commission and the Pocono Township Planning Commission. And with that, Madam President, you can open your hearing.
Okay, does the board have anything they'd like to discuss?
I'm just looking for the letter from the planning commission. I didn't see it in our packet here.
Yeah.
Kepler? My copy, so I need it back for the record in case we're challenged.
Yeah, I would just say that this was, a highly, people were very interested and concerned about the parcels that were selected for this data center overlay. I know overlays, districts in general have been kind of a controversial topic lately all over the Poconos, particularly related to data centers, because it's more difficult to find a map of all the overlays than it is to find a map of just the zoning. And so it makes it more difficult to figure out where exactly things are. So this, really simplifies and streamlines zoning, makes it clear to everyone, particularly people who are, moving into the community where, they can expect to potentially see a data center and not see one. And, hopefully we don't see any here in Pocono Township. I know people are very deeply concerned about them. And the impacts that they could potentially have on the community. So our hope is that with this amendment that we're going to be, I mean, my hope, I shouldn't speak for the board. My hope is that this amendment is going to, make sure that residents have adequate protections should one come in. And I know we've received a lot of comments from people in the community about further amendments they'd like to see in the future related to buffers and related to studies and things related to water usage and things like that. And those are definitely things I'd like to look at in the long run. But this is an important first step to making sure that our residents can feel safe and like they're being listened to and their concerns are being represented by their elected officials.
Thank you. Matt, did you have anything?
No, I would just say I think the ordinance was a great first step. We protected a lot of the township that was vulnerable when we first came into office, Charles and I. And I think that this amendment just strengthens that ordinance even further, protects the Core 5 parcel particularly and others. And I believe this is the strongest position we can take legally from a zoning perspective. And like Charles said, I think other regulations can be added, and I'm open to those conversations regarding electricity, water, etc. But I think we all agreed that we wanted to pass the ordinance and then amend it, and so that's exactly what we're doing.
Thank you. I'll open it up to the public. I don't know, does anybody have to be sworn in, Donna, or
No,
just testimony?
just comments are given. Doesn't have to be sworn.
That's it. Please state your name for the.
Hi,
record.
Betsy Cashano, 198 Staten Road, CASCIANO, Staten Road, Pocono Township. So is it 3 minutes or?
Pardon?
Oh,
No.
okay. So anyway, I'm not going to make this a long, sad story, but I've been selling real estate in this township and in the Poconos for longer than most of my clients have been alive, since 1986. And I've always had this feeling when I show somebody home with lots of open space by it. Oh, how wonderful. You're going to live by nothing. Isn't that the greatest? Now, when I see a property with lots of open space by it, and not just Pocono Township, I mean, Kidder Township. I was up there today. There's a warehouse up there that never used to be there. I'm fearful now to say you should buy this property. Look how pretty. Because I think, oh my God, what if, right? What if they wake up one morning and they have a warehouse behind them and it's me that put them there? So I think that these things that you're trying to accomplish to let us know where these things are going to go is going to help a lot of the new families that are moving into this area, that I'm responsible for putting places and make promises to them that all of a sudden aren't true anymore. So I'm grateful that you're doing this. My question is, can you, like, I hear industrial only, like where is the industrial zones in Pocono Township? I know it's Sanofi.
And the flour mill.
Where else are
The
they?
flour mill.
The old flour mill up in the corner of the township.
I don't
You're
know.
looking at a map of the township,
Close
upper left-hand side is a little triangular piece of land. I think we have a zoning map.
Okay, so I can find it. If I look for the flour mill, I'll know, because I just want to know where I can say this is great and not say this is great when I should know better than that it's not great. So where were these data centers allowed to go now, like before the vote? Were they allowed to go in commercial zones?
They were allowed in the overlays, so I think it was the Summit Resort property. I think the Core 5 warehouse. I believe there was also one over the Northampton Community College location, and there may have been one more. It was all, but it was all in that area there.
The rumor mill is flying up and down Staten Road now that the Warner Road warehouse is a data center. That's what I mean. Honestly, I don't understand which could be worse. Like, why would I be more upset by a data center than I am by the warehouse? Probably not, but so that's not happening, I'm sure. But
I believe, assuming this amendment passes tonight, they wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't be a permitted use in that zone. So yeah.
Okay. I think. I'm not trying to be selfish with my concern. Of course I am, because I have all these big parcels around me and we're commercially zoned. So I'm fearful that something is going to happen. But I already have the highway in my backyard. I don't want a data center on the right-hand side of me. Okay, I think that, so you're going to pass this, right?
Well, we'll see. It's a vote.
Just go ahead and say yes. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. In the back? Please state your name for the report.
Thank you. My name is Nellie Mackay, and I'm from Mount Pocono. I thank you for having this hearing. And of course, any limit on the data center is necessary and wonderful. And I'm sure you've all read about and researched the possibility of noise pollution, light pollution, air pollution, and water waste from these data centers. But there's a broader discussion too that applies to which is that this demand is not being created. It's not inevitable, and it's not organic. I can't go online and search for anything without being given an AI answer somewhere. I can't go on a website without being offered an AI assist, or do you want to use AI? I never thought of using AI. I've got a nice life. Maybe some people need it for certain things, but this is being forced upon us. And whether we want it or need it, it's being forced upon us by people and corporations who stand to profit from it. So I'd like to just close with 4 thoughts from Jerry Mander, who was an author and activist. You can look him up. His first name begins with a J, Jerry Mander. And he began in the 1970s urging us to question and resist the unfettered spread of technology. 1, be deeply skeptical. Negativity is positive. This is being forced on us. It's always positive propaganda, and it's again, because a small handful of people are going to make money off of it. It's not in our interest. They don't care about us or our community. Never judge technology by the way it benefits you personally. Seek a holistic view of its impacts on nature, on resources, on people, on the future. AI can be fun, sure, but do we want to support a public policy that benefits those fat cats at the top over ourselves that is going to hurt our community? 3, get rid of the idea that technology is neutral. Every technology has inherent and identifiable social, political, cultural, and environmental consequences. These data centers benefit the government and corporations way more than they benefit us, again. And finally, don't accept the homily that once the genie is out of the bottle, you can't put it back. We need public discussion like this. We need to come together in defense of what we care about. This is an extraordinary issue because so many people agree that we don't want these things. We don't want this spread, this unrestricted spread especially. So don't let the tiny group of people at the top who profit the most dictate what happens in our lives, in our community. We do have power. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Cheryl?
Cheryl Parks, 150 Ruby Lane. I want to urge everyone to please pass this tonight. We've already been, like I said, 2 communities decimated by the warehouse. And I can't even imagine if, even in the properties surrounding me, if a data center would to go in there. We have all these high quality waterways right here. For some reason, that's where they want to put it. I don't know if it's for the cooling or whatever. Most of these data centers they're probably already obsolete to start with. I used to work for Bell Laboratories and I was doing data center stuff like 40 years ago. So, but most of it will probably be done from satellites and we won't even need this. Just the same as the solar fields. We're taking hundreds of acres and putting up solar panels that become 20% less efficient after a month. And we can't get rid of any of the waste products from it. And I think the township did put the ordinance where they have to be on the buildings now, which is a really good thing. But we're taking land that could be feeding us. And we're taking trees, the whole warehouse, cutting down all of those trees. It seems to me if I was a planner, I would be keeping as many trees and green things around major highways like Route 80 to protect our air and to protect our water. My air right now was not protected. The people on Kevin's Lane air has not been protected. And I'm hoping that you just do pass this and hopefully we won't have any that'll come here. And hopefully we can change some of the zoning for all of the other land that's around the creek so we can preserve that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Cindy?
I have more of a question than a comment. My understanding was that they're going to put the data center in Tobyhanna, which is up from the solar field. And they requested to use our water. Are we doing anything about that?
I've heard that, but I don't know that any plans have come in. Does anybody else have anything on that?
I just think it's very important that we
Yeah.
don't let someone else use our water. We need to protect it.
Madam President?
Yes.
Yeah, the Pocono Township does not supply its water. The Broadhead Creek Regional Authority supplies the water. So they meet on a regular basis like we meet. And your comments and questions and concerns are best directed. We don't control the Broadhead Creek Regional Authority.
Okay, thank you.
They're an independent authority. You're welcome.
What if they wanted well water though? Like,
That's up to Tobyhanna Township. It's not located in
okay. They
Pocono
can't take
Township.
Pocono Township's water.
Well, I mean, if the aquifer, if the well that they drill affects the aquifer of Pocono Township residents, then, and the wells go dry, then we certainly would have an opportunity and probably should keep an eye on it to see whether it's public water or well water. Although I can tell you that with my understanding of water usage, they'd be looking for public water.
Is Tobyhanna included in our Act 537, Pat?
The only portion that's included is the portion that includes Kalahari at this time.
Okay, but it
And there's
it wouldn't include.
There's there's an adjacent parcel up there as well, but I'm not sure what the boundary is for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good evening. My name's Kathleen Rich. I'm from Tobyhanna Township, and I'm here today because I'm really trying to understand what neighboring townships are doing, because I think you may end up setting precedents for us. And, the question becomes, what benefits are we getting if a data center is approved? And I think, the commissioners in many townships have the ability to set governance and regulations around how the data centers operate, which could limit the number of proposals depending on what governance is established. So, for example, will they help to lower our property taxes? Will they help to lower our school district taxes? Will they help to lower our electricity, given the electrical needs that are going to be impacting the grid? What will happen with the water table? And as others have said, what type of scientific studies will you require to make sure the water table is not adversely affected? So I think there are things that you as, commissioners in this county and other county and townships as well can do to be more stringent so that there's actually financial and other benefits that come to us, the residents, for preserving the natural habitat and the environment that we have here, which we all love so much. So I would just encourage and be very interested to know what types of regulations you may put forward that will allow any data centers that do end up here to be thoughtful and recognize the residents of this community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Good.
So just to address your comments, ma'am, have you read the ordinance that has already been passed?
I have not yet.
So it's part of our agenda packet, and there are a bunch of bullet points on water and sewer and electricity usage. So it's, if you're looking for some precedents, I think Leo did a great job. It's pretty restrictive. So definitely check that out. Online, yep.
Thank you. Anyone else? Jim?
Again, the subject here is hyperscale data centers. Very clearly. And I think John.
Can we have the name for the record?
Oh,
please?
yes, James Pellegrini, Pellegrini, Swiftwater. John, you're responsible for most of what's in here, is that correct?
I guess I can't run from it.
You did a good job. And to what Natasha just said, I read the whole thing, and it's the water usage, source of water, disposal of water is all covered in here. And it's pretty restrictive. It's not bad. You read it. Couple things I just want to note on this. The setbacks. Now, going back to what this young lady said about doing studies on sound. When we're talking about a hyperscale data center, this is going to sound a little bit out there, but it's the truth. Anybody doing 15 minutes of research will find out all the negative aspects of a hyperscale data center. Doesn't take much. It's certainly the boogeyman. That said, we do need studies. We do need to take our time. You have a 300-foot setback. That's what's in the ordinance, 300 feet. I don't know if that's enough. Maybe for a certain sound it might be. What about EMI? That's not addressed. Although you do mention here on page 3, the setbacks. And then again, you mention electrical disturbances on page 7, item 3. I don't know what electrical disturbance is. That EMI? Can you, I don't want to put you on the spot.
I think, you can't write an ordinance that covers every minutia, but if someone were to come in with a land development plan, we would utilize that ordinance and say that they have to document all electrical activity, and then we would review that just like we would review any other site plan at the time and offer comments. Regarding the setback, 300 feet is a setback that we're saying it has to be regardless. But we also, separate from that, have sound requirements at the property line. And if they're exceeding the sound requirements because they're too close at 300 feet, then they either have to do some other type of sound insulation, or maybe they have to move their facility 500 feet away. But so you've got two safeguards there. The 300 feet is just for everything. You got to be 300 feet away with your data center. But then on top of that, you still must meet these other concerns that we have. And if you can't meet them because you're too close to the property line at 300 feet, you got to go farther.
No, I like a lot of what you wrote there. So addressing the sound, page 8, accessory use. You would consider diesel generators accessory use, correct?
Absolutely.
As I would. Okay.
Substations, all of that, cooling, any kind of water supply, all of that is accessory. Anything that they need to operate their data center is an accessory use.
And I noticed you separated that out from the ordinance itself, to saying that that would have to be approved separately from the actual building. Nice touch. The accessory use on page 8, number 7, item 2 says the rules do not apply during power outages. That's something we need to look at, okay? And there's a couple of concerns here. Power outages, well, God knows they happen a lot here. Beyond power outages, these generators are used for brownouts. These generators are used when the grids are stressed. And they're used in full force. They're not 2 or 3 turned on. They take the load of the data center off the grid at times of stress on the grid. And this past holiday, they were done. They did that with the data centers because of the heat and the stress on the grid. We need to address it. Okay, we need to address the sound ordinances at full force. Again. Okay, now you got times for 67, I think it is, during daytime, and 57 at night. That's great. Okay, but again, we need to specifically note that we want these tests, we want these sound tests and studies done at full force. You throw 150 generators. Again, we're talking about hyperscale data centers. If this is something that'll never happen in township, I'll sit down right now. That's the only thing we're objecting to, is the hyperscale data center. There are data centers all around us right now, and we never even knew they were there, and we never even heard about them going in, because they're 700,000 square feet, maybe 500,000 square feet. The Covington has a 750,000 square foot data center, and nobody cares. The proposed data center is over 5 million square feet. There's a slight difference there. They surround these buildings with generators. These generators also rely on some kind of fuel, which is something that I'd also would like to point out, John, is not addressed in the ordinance from the perspective of if it's a diesel generator and maybe the separate part, but hear me out and you can correct me. I'm not infallible. The diesel generators that would the amount of fuel it would take in reserve for the diesel generators is clearly over 100,000 gallons, maybe even more. Just to be sure that they are able to run for a certain amount of time. I would love to see that addressed in this, how they're going to store it, what safety guards they're going to put in place. If it's LP gas, fair enough. You know, these things I would like to see addressed. John, what do you want to say?
I want to say that all those, the fuel particularly is controlled by the state. They're going to have to conform to all state requirements for fuel storage, usage, spill prevention. They're going to have a plan on file with the DEP regarding that, whether they're small or hyperscale. They're going to need that with the DEP.
I love it.
We would just be saying the same thing, probably less efficiently than what the DEP already requires.
Okay, so I got the sound covered, you got the fuel thing covered, but I want to also say something that Kyle Van Fleet pointed out in our advisory council meeting, and that is that Pocono Township does not have a hazmat response team or the equipment. Now, I would love to be corrected, honestly. And I trust Kyle, and Thomas also spoke about this. Then something that I am going to pursue with them is something I'm going to look into. If somebody here has some information on whether or not we are properly prepared for a hazmat situation. And again, we can go back to the fuel of the data centers. It's nice that they have to, you know, abide by the federal guidelines, but do those federal guidelines cover, you know, the township's ability to respond and or react to a hazmat condition of the magnitude that I could see could potentially happen. So, you know, if anybody knows anything about that, you know, let me know. But I am going to pursue that with Thomas and with Kyle, and we're gonna raise that up as high as we possibly can, just for I-80, which was really the subject of conversation. It wasn't the data center, but it applies, I think, but I'm crazy. All right, so the energy, the gas, diesel, electrical disturbances, EMI, RFI, harmonics, negative harmonics emanating from the building 24/7, regardless of the cooling systems or the generators, just from the servers themselves, hyperscale data centers being the subject. Just as an FYI, our country has over 5,000 data centers in it, and nobody's ever heard about it. Nobody. The closest country is Germany with a little over 500, and China is below that. So this whole thing about hyperscale data centers, and we need it to win AI, and we got to be ahead of the Chinese, and they're trying to take our elections, and all this silliness that's out there is just that. It's silliness. It's just fear, because this entire initiative is a money grab. It's a money grab. Okay? That's what it's all about. The government says over a certain wattage or a mega wattage, we'll give you money to do this, to do that. Every one of the people that are in charge of all of these hyperscale data centers, the big four, Microsoft, Amazon, and the other two, all sat at the table with Trump, all donated. So if you don't think this is linked to money, you really just, again, 15 minutes on the internet and find the facts. This is not an anti-Trump speech. Find the facts. It's pay to play. And it's so blatantly obvious, it's ridiculous. So this is all about money. The race for AI has nothing to do with the hardware and everything to do with intellect. There was a guy in China, wasn't even in China, it might have been China, just a few months back, rewrote an algorithm, rewrote an approach, and blew the entire industry out of the water in the morning. That's how logic works. That's how coding works. It's all binary. It's all theoretical. It's all intellectual. Now, where you place that coding, what you want to do, that's another thing. But data mining, if you've heard of that, is a major reason why they want to have these data centers in place. They constantly work in just trying to find Bitcoins. And then passing all of the blockchains from point to point. Everything, as far as currency goes, is going toward digital. It's going towards crypto. And I'm not a fan of it in any way, shape, or form. There's only so many things we could do. But the more restrictive we are, and I do believe, after reading the draft, after reading the second printing, maybe the final, I don't know, that you're doing a great job. And you're covering a lot. I even saw the battery thing, which I had mentioned wasn't in the first one, is now in this one. Batteries are another consideration. All these servers, none of them run on commercial power. None of them. They run on batteries, 48 volts. That's it. Just like a central office. You're familiar with that, right? And the generators at the central office. You're familiar with that. And I'm pointing over to Jim. Because he's in the business, and I've been in the business. I know what they do. They have 1 or 2 generators. That's it. They don't surround the building with 150 generators and 5 million square feet and all kinds of destruction, just getting them in place. So this ordinance, if I heard you correctly, is going to bar anybody from converting the current Core 5 site to a data center. Is that true or false?
I mean, I would refer to Paul on that as far as our zoning, but my understanding is that by removing the overlay, it wouldn't be a permitted use in that zone. So I don't believe that anyone could put one there.
Paul?
Yes, so once the data center overlay is removed, if this ordinance does pass, they would only be allowed in the industrial district. So Core 5 is not an industrial property in an industrial district. It would not be permitted.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Core 5 grandfathered into the industrial zone?
No.
They're a permitted use. Warehousing is permitted on that site, Jim. Now, the only caution, I don't want to be a naysayer, but the only caution is a lot of these restrictions and a lot of these ordinances get challenged. So we would have to survive the
You know,
challenge, but that's power
Yeah.
greater than us.
Leo, it's a mess. It's a mess. Every township, every meeting I've attended, there's been lawyers there. You know, there's been witness statements from the people affected. Some guy took a drone up 100 feet, you know, so that you can see whether or not you have a line of sight to the old quarry and stuff like, it's a mess. It's a mess. And I don't know that the federal government's stepping in strong enough to stop it. I know the state government, I know Josh Shapiro is not. He is not. He's got a lot of lip service, but nothing tangible to stop anything. Just, you know, you got to play by the rules and da. Don't work. Okay, moratoriums. New York State just did the first ever moratorium, if officially, for a year. Like I said to you before about throttling the development, the commercial growth. Same thing with data centers. We, as a nation, as larger than anybody and anything in this room, need to throttle things. We need to take it to a reasonable level. We need to realize that it's people that matter and it's not money. You can't eat money. You can't drink money. You don't want to go for a walk through the money. You want to go through a walk through the forest. You want the streams to remain intact. And John, again, I love what you put in here for the water, how it has to be, you know, specified, how much it can be used, how the reclaimed water, this, that, or the other thing. That's all excellent stuff, and it's in here, and I thank you for it. Really, we're at a tipping point. The data center is one subject, growth is the other. For those of you that don't know, if you put a dash AI at the end of your search, it will discount AI in that search. It will not use it. It's just a minus sign AI, and you'll get results without the AI. Without that, you're just going to get Copilot telling you exactly, you know, what it is you want to know, which I do. I'm guilty of using, but not for this particular speech. That's it. I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone online? Does the board have anything else? With that, I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And next, we would need a motion to act on this ordinance. I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-08 data center ordinance amendment. Second by Natasha. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Not yet.
Good one, Dan.
That's yeah.
Yes, we approved it. Yes. Next on the agenda is a motion to approve or disapprove resolution 2026-26 regarding applying for a grant to repair or replace the Staten Road Bridge. I think we probably should have a little discussion before we get to the motion. John, do you want to?
Yes, I got some new information, which I think is good information. I just received it on Friday and of last week and confirmed it this morning. First bit is that they have waived the match for the replacement. So if you make an application for replacement and we get the full amount, you do not have to match anything. You get the full amount. The second piece of good news is that our grant writer spoke to the grant people, and they said that if you don't get enough money to replace it, there probably is some room to possibly negotiate a repair. So that we should put in our application, mention that repair is an alternative, but it's not the favorite alternative. And that would be acceptable. So I really think that the motion for the resolution should be to replace the bridge, since it's not going to cost you anything if you get the money. And if we get anything, we can determine at that point whether we want to try to save it and get more money to replace it or just utilize it to repair. So that's what I've learned, and that's my recommendation.
Okay. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026 to replace the Staden Road, to apply for a grant to replace the Staden Road Bridge. And that doesn't obligate us at this point. Okay.
Second.
Discussion?
How do you feel about that, Matt?
That's fine.
Any public comment? Betsy?
And of course, the fear level is back. Why are we replacing the bridge? Is it so that the truck traffic can cross it from the warehouse?
No, it's been deemed it needs to be replaced.
Right, but when they replace it, will it then be a bridge that is safe enough to carry the weight of these tractor trailers from the warehouse?
It will be.
It already is.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a weight limit currently, so there's nothing preventing it. And I mean, if tractor trailers did start going across it, it would, probably put the bridge in danger in the long term. But currently, there's nothing preventing tractor trailers from going across it at this time.
But they don't, because we don't have a warehouse yet. So when the warehouse gets built, and maybe I'm being paranoid, when the warehouse gets built and that emergency back entrance.
There is no back entrance.
Well, I look at it every day.
Yeah, that's not a road.
It's not a road.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, but
Looks
we did
like a
away
road.
with that one. We did away with
Right.
this.
There's no, there may be an emergency, I can't recall, but there's not going to be everyday traffic coming out on the Staten
I don't
Road.
believe it. I think that it's gonna, I'm sorry, I'm not saying I don't believe you. I don't believe it, because I just know that there's one little way that they can get out. They're gonna get out, and it's gonna be on my road, and that bridge is gonna be better so they can cross it. This is my fear. So, and
We'll have to look into it, because my recollection was that was only proposed when the warehouse was going on Staden, and then
no,
things
it's
changed.
the Warner Road emergency exit. And they assured us that it would only be for emergencies.
Yeah.
My perspective is either way you would want it replaced, because right now there's nothing stopping them from driving trucks across it. So if they did decide to start driving trucks across it, then the bridge could fail, and then there's township liability potentially, as well as the fact that the bridge will then be completely out. Now at least we get to choose the time for replacement. We get to make sure that it's done properly, and we get to apply for a grant to have it hopefully mostly paid for. So if there was ever a time to do it, now would be the time. We can get this grant, we can get it replaced, and God forbid they do start putting tractor trailers out there, at least we know that we have a bridge that can withstand that weight, because there's nothing stopping them right now. And potentially it could, again,
I've never seen a tractor trailer in Staten Road. I lived there 24 years.
and I hope, and I don't imagine.
I feel like the grand scheme here is that now that's the next thing, is the bridge is going to be better. I'm very nervous about it.
Yeah. But couldn't we do similar to what we did with Back Mountain and say no truck traffic? You're saying no?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, there is no restriction on the current bridge. They can go across it every day, all day long. Secondly, when you get the grant, they're going to make us design it to PennDOT standards, which is for all legal truck traffic on the road. So we can't accept the grant money and design a substandard bridge or post it
No, I'm
for no
saying,
reason.
can't we do the same thing we did on Back Mountain and say trucks aren't allowed to go through? You can make deliveries, but you can't use it as a throughway.
Back Mountain, the the restrictions on Back Mountain was on the road itself, not on a bridge.
Right.
The road itself was not conducive to truck traffic because the road was only, I think, 2.5, 3 inches of asphalt on not a very good base. And it also had some very steep slopes, which would make it dangerous for truck traffic trying to stop and start. So, but that restriction was placed on the road because of the road's condition itself. Staden Road, I don't know what condition it's in. I mean, I know it's in terrible condition right now up front of Core 5, but overall, we could look at the road, and if it wouldn't pass muster for truck traffic, we could consider posting it based on that. But my point is, we can't limit the bridge.
The other thing is, just to reassure you, there's no plan that shows an access point out onto Staden. So
What is that enormous road that's been cut
They're-
there?
They've actually cleared that. That's an easement for their stormwater and their water. That's just an easement. That's not going to be improved. It's funny, I was out there today with Cheryl. There is stone on top of the hill, but they're only, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, they only placed that material so that they could traverse that and put the stone in the trench and move their material. They're not building a road there. They're not building a road to access.
all the way up.
I know it looks like it. I was out there today. I took pictures of it. I know it looks like it, but it's not shown on the plans. It's not part of their approved.
I didn't think there was, but I wasn't going to speak up because I wasn't sure. But I think there's a gentleman in the audience. Unless he
I remember when we were fighting the Staden Road warehouse that they said that
Aaron left.
they were going to have an emergency exit onto Staden from the Warner Road warehouse.
An emergency exit, though, is not an exit that they're going to be using full time.
Yet.
Well, that's something that the
Yeah.
township would have to.
The township can enforce it. It's
Township
an
can-
emergency access, and if it's even there, and I can't recall. But assuming that there is an emergency access, if they start using it for anything other than emergency, this is a recorded plan with conditions, and the township could step in and stop them from using it.
So I'm not allowed to put concrete barriers across my road, right? That wouldn't go over very well, I'm assuming. Okay.
Thank you, Betsy. Your time's up.
I know. I thank you. I didn't, okay.
John, is bonding the road a possibility to put like a weight limit on it?
I'm not sure how you're referring to that.
No, I know that municipalities can like bond the road, and whoever the overweight user is would have to. Like,
Yes,
pay
we
some
do
sort of
that
fee.
with logging operations. If someone wants to come in and log a piece of property, and they're on a township road that is of questionable strength, we make them first video the road before they go in, post a bond for what we think it would take to repair it, assuming that they will have some level of destruction. And then we inspect it after they're done with their logging operation. That's how the bond works. But we don't have any intended user on that road that I'm aware of. Core 5 is not intending to use that road.
Okay.
Cheryl.
Back in 2015, that bridge was repaired, and it was because they were logging that and they were going over that with the logging trucks. And after they repaired it, they put a weight limit of 12,000 pounds, and then the sign disappeared. So I don't know what happened with that. I know the people that were logging that were found the township shut them down after they did enough damage because they didn't do much for the bridge. But now that would be my concern too, is having, the truck traffic on there because the weight limit of the bridge. So not that I don't want you to fix it if you can, but I'm just saying, to say that there was never a weight limit, there was. It was 12 tons. That's what was put on after it was fixed, because there was a whole thing about the fire trucks not being able to go over it and the school buses, and there was a whole big thing about it. So then it was repaired, and then it was supposed to be 12 tons. So just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope we don't have a road going through there. That's next to mine.
We have a motion on the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Are we allowed to speak?
Sorry. I thought we were done. Is there someone online that has wanted to make a comment?
Yes, but I can't raise my hand. It doesn't show me.
Go ahead, Karen. Sounds like
It's Karen Delarden. I have a question for Patrick. He just mentioned the project of Core 5 doing water and stormwater back there. Are they also doing water along with the sewer?
No,
Or did you just make a mistake?
I misspoke. I'm sorry, Karen.
Okay, thank you. Just checking.
Yep.
Since they're in my backyard today. Thanks.
Did I skip anybody else on that motion? Go ahead.
Well, I was waiting to speak. She just sat down, so am I allowed to speak?
Go ahead.
Okay. The previous meeting, I believe Cheryl had said that she had, was worried a road was going in through her property. It was supposed to be an easement. Every week, it's alarming to me, the things that are reported, and to my knowledge, I haven't heard of any resolutions or, what's being done about them, Core 5 per se, not, sticking to the plan, like cutting down trees on Ruby Lane on that woman's property or on Cheryl's property, building a road. This woman saying there's another road. And now I hear about a bridge. So the dots kind of connect in my head. I didn't know we needed a new bridge, but my whole thing is Core 5 is an LLC that is also, was it privy to LERTA? Did it receive LERTA? Because if it transfers after they are finished, they could have someone in there, sell it and not report the taxes, and no one we would lose money that way too. So it's just very concerning. I'm not against a new bridge, but it just is very suspicious. It's PP&L got a substation going in there?
That's my knowledge. Thank you.
Please.
Just to add a little context.
Sure.
So all the bridges in the township are inspected on regular interval by PennDOT, actually a PennDOT inspector. And the need to replace or repair this bridge is being driven from PennDOT. Their inspector comes in, they evaluate it, it's very thorough. The township maintains those records, and then we make decisions on how to repair and replace based on those. So it is coincidental, but it did come from PennDOT. That's the genesis of this bridge repair replacement.
And just to add to that, PennDOT did shut down the Scott Run Bridge because a repair wasn't made. I represent Smithfield Township, and they shut down a bridge over there as well because a repair wasn't made. So we've been advised by PennDOT to either repair this bridge or replace it. It's our choice, but if we can get the money to replace it, that's still my recommendation.
And John, just to clarify, if I remember correctly, we were talking about Staten Road Bridge about a year ago, weren't we?
Oh, we were talking about the Staten Road Bridge back when Taylor was still here.
Okay, I would say, because I knew it was a huge conversation
Yes.
last summer, because
That-
we were trying to find ways to repair it. with the safety guides
Taylor
and everything else.
charged me with looking at alternatives, and yeah, it's been on the township's radar for at least 3, if not 4 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm online if I'm next.
I know, but did I miss you? Go ahead. This is regarding the Staten Road?
The Staten Road Bridge. I understand if it needs to be repaired, but just please understand 2 things. Core 5 hasn't acted in a way that we should trust them. And, I wonder about these other roads. I mean, we're not beefing up Staten Bridge to be able to be a back door for Core 5.
Thank you. I'm gonna move. Jim, you had something on the Staten Road?
I always have something to say. Could the issues and or concerns about Staten Road and the bridge be quelled by a couple of signs?
What's that?
A couple of signs restricting truck
No.
traffic?
John already said no. When we.
You can't put a sign saying no through truck traffic? Local deliveries only?
Part of the problem with the bridge or the main problem with the bridge, and it's a continuing problem, even though it's been repaired twice, is the undermining of the bridge from the Pocono Creek. If PennDOT thought that it was unsafe for truck traffic, in their report, they would say post the bridge for 5 tons, 10 tons, whatever they felt was safe. They have not said that that's the issue. The issue is the undermining that has to be repaired once again.
Maybe I asked it incorrectly. I'm talking about the truck traffic coming from Core 5. Could that not be stopped by a couple of signs?
There should be no Core 5 truck traffic on that road.
Correct. And to ensure that, could you not just point them in the direction they need to exit, and also when they,
No.
guide them on how to enter
From what
so
John
that
has
they
told
don't
us.
go?
No, from what John has told us, we cannot do that unless there's mitigating circumstances, right? So. No.
Signs are out of the question.
It would have to qualify. And they're not out of the question, Jim. They would have to qualify under the PennDOT regulations. We just can't unilaterally put up a sign that says no trucks.
In other words, if the roads can support it, you can't put a sign up that says you can't
say
use
you
it.
don't want to have trucks on that.
Well, that's
road.
not right.
I didn't say it was right. I didn't say.
I mean, I've seen signs like that all the time where you're restricting commercial traffic in one way or another. I don't know. That don't sound right.
Thank you. John.
I hear it.
We're going to move on to a consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda of the old business consisting of the minutes of the July 6th, 2026 regular meeting, the Board of Commissioners, and the financial transactions through July 20th as presented, including the ratification of expenditures in the amount of $616,209.12 for the following accounts: general fund, sewer operations, gross payroll, capital reserve, and construction fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we need a motion to approve the payment number 1 in the amount of $37,598.40 on the Lord Road Roundabout project as for T&M's letter dated 7/14/2026. I'll make that motion. I'll second it. Any discussion? Any public comment? I believe it already has because we're making a payment. Is that right, John?
That's correct. They've cut down trees. They've relocated a propane tank on the bank, which would be in the new right of way. They have purchased materials. We're still coordinating with PP&L to get them to move their poles. I'm sorry.
It's for the contractor.
Oh, it's going to the contractor. I mean, it's northeast site.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we need a motion to approve the construction escrow release, payment number 1 in the amount of $703,728.67 on the Trapasso Hotel Event Center and Development Plan number 1438 per T&M's letter dated 7/16/26. Is there a motion? I'll make that motion. I'll second that. Discussion? Any public comment? Anybody online?
Yes.
What's that? I didn't.
They're only identified as resident.
Oh. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Are you still with us, Matt?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Card deals.
We need a motion to waive the pavilion rental fees for Faith International Church on August 22nd.
Second.
Second by Dan. Any discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Need a motion to approve the advertising for the now vacant alternate seat on the zoning hearing board with interviews to be held at August 17th Board of Commissioners meeting. I'll make a motion to approve the advertising for the vacant alternate seat on the zoning hearing board with interviews to be held at the August 17th Board of Commissioner meeting.
Second.
Discussion?
I would just say to people who are concerned about data centers, I know that if there was a challenge to our zoning ordinance, it would likely come before the zoning hearing board first. So if this is something you feel passionate about, this is a good opportunity for you to have a voice in that issue. Potentially, if there is a challenge to it in the future. I know that the zoning hearing board meetings in the townships that do have data centers have gotten pretty crazy lately. So if this is something you feel passionate about, this is a good opportunity.
Any public comment? So go ahead.
No.
I'm sorry.
The zoning hearing board has to have a neutral position.
Yes, yes, it does. Public comment? Anybody online?
I suppose zoning hearing board has to have a neutral position for the record. Dan, that's what I said.
Oh, okay, yes, that is correct. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And I would just ask Pat or Jim to get that advertised so people can apply. Next, there is a motion to approve a sponsorship for the Kettle Creek Environmental Fund Dinner and an amount to be identified, if any. Would anyone like to make that motion? Would anybody like to discuss it before we move it on?
I would like to say the Kettle Creek is what we're on now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, was the motion made?
No.
No. I'd like to make the motion for the I had it pulled up here. The Maple level sponsor, which is $1,000. I know well, I'll make the motion and then we can discuss, but I'll make the motion to what's the exact wording here? Approve the Maple sponsorship in the amount of $1,000 for Kettle Creek Environmental Fund dinner. There's a second.
I'll second it for discussion. What I'm not really sure. I probably should know, but what do they do in Pocono Township? Does anybody know?
So I know that they host a lot of events with Erica. They partnered on a whole bunch of stuff with the township over the last couple of years. I mean, my son absolutely loves the creek walks and the local nature walks through the park that they host. So they take kids through, and our parks, yeah. So they've done them at TLC down in the creek. I think they've done them at Mountain View back through the woods, and they show all the kids the leaves and some of the smaller animals and stuff. And it's just it's a great thing they do, and obviously they do land conservation and things like that, and just environmental education in our community, which is just very important to people in our community, I know. And so I think this sponsorship would adequately thank them for partnering with us and just being great great partners to the township, and for the excellent work they do on conservation in Monroe County and Pocono Township.
So I'm not opposed to sponsoring. However, the difference between a pine sponsor at 500 and a maple sponsor at 1,000 is 2 tickets to dinner. All the other stuff is status quo, same package. So it's $250 per ticket for 2 additional people. And then with that being said, you have 2 tickets versus 4 tickets. Who's going?
Oh, I was going to suggest that we give the tickets away at like a township event. Maybe at, I think the car show will be before then, or maybe at the. I think it's probably too short notice for the concert in the park, but we have a number of events coming up. I think it'd be a great raffle prize for people. I don't think we should be the ones going. I think we should be, trying to give them back to the community and use them maybe to raise a little more money for the fire department or something.
Is that allowed? Like, did you get permission from Kettle Creek and Trout Lake to donate the tickets? When they specifically asked us as Pocono Township sponsor, listen, I'm not opposed to it. I think it's a great idea, but before that's said, you should probably get permission that we could donate the tickets out to anyone and anyone's allowed to go.
Oh, you're saying they might just be asking.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
right.
saying.
I see
It's
what
like,
you're saying. I see what you're saying.
you're saying we can give the tickets away, but we don't even know that we can.
Well, yeah, if we can, I'm okay with that. So we could find that out.
It looks like we have time, so if we want to maybe, I'll make the motion to postpone consideration to our next scheduled meeting. And we can get the answer on whether or not we'd be allowed to give those tickets.
I mean, I'm fine with moving forward with approving one of the sponsorships.
Yeah.
I just think you should figure out the tickets too.
Yeah, before we
Because-
do anything.
Because if
Yeah.
it's township staff or representatives of the township that have to go, we might want to do the Pine sponsor because it's 2 dinner tickets. But if you're allowed to donate the tickets out, maybe it's worth the $250 extra ticket because it's $500 for 2 dinner tickets. That's the difference. That's all I'm saying. I don't know that we should go for an extra $500.
The deadline to return forms is Friday, July 31st, 2026.
Oh, all right. So then we probably should act on it today.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
So, you made the motion, I seconded it, right? Do you want to amend your motion to, if we can donate tickets, it's 1,000, if we can't, it's 500? Is that something you would? You don't have to.
I think it should be like, I don't, the tickets are immaterial. I think, we're not buying the tickets. We're contributing, and the tickets are a gift to us. It's a donation, I think, for what they do, here in the township. I think that's a good donation.
Any other discussion? Any public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And can you just find out, Pat, if we can donate those tickets or if they're expecting us? Yeah. The next one, the board doesn't object. I'd like to have a discussion on this first before we go into a motion. I'm not sure what a cell tower lease on or near Mountain View Park is all about.
I'm not sure either. I received this in the mail, and I figured I would bring it to the board's attention.
Okay. Yeah, but then your children grow an extra arm, and that's not good.
And that's why I didn't follow up. I figured I'd bring it to the board and you would direct me accordingly.
I mean, I'm totally in favor of it. I mean, I think it's a great idea. We've had cell towers trying to go into like residential neighborhoods and stuff like that. At the end of like private roads. This puts it onto a municipal road. It's money for the township. It's mostly out of the way. Potentially, I'm not sure exactly where they would want to put it in Mountain View Park, but it's a big park and there's a lot of property that's off the beaten path, so to speak. And I don't really see any risk from a cell tower. I mean, I've got a kid. He is around technology all the time. It's inescapable. It's not like having it at the park is any worse than it being literally anywhere else, hiking at the top of, hiking along the Kittatinny Ridge where there are towers up there, we're walking under them all the time. I mean, they're all over the place. So it's not like having it at the park is any worse than having them literally anywhere else. They're omnipresent.
I have concerns because there are health concerns with cell towers, especially if you buy them a lot. And my concern is when you put that tower up, you got a neighborhood that has to view that. And I'm sure those neighbors are not going to be happy about that. So, and we don't know about the money. So for me, I would rather have more information before we do anything, but
Well,
up to the board.
So that's what I was gonna say. I don't necessarily approve or deny a cell phone, but maybe we should find out more information of where they want to put it, because here's the thing. Mountain View Park is close to the solar farm. So depending on where they want to put it, perhaps we can put them in touch with the connections from the solar farm and
That's where I was thinking.
let them stick up there.
I don't think we're approving anything here. We're just, saying Pat can continue discussing potential locations, potential whatever with them. But we're not making any decisions tonight, right? No.
Then we don't need a motion for
No.
Pat to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Unless anybody wanted to make the motion. But no. Okay, next are our individual reports. We're not on any motions. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pass and hope John has something on the cell tower later. So, Matt, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Natasha, Jim? Thank you. Dan?
Back to the cell tower. So we did decide Patrick was going to continue to investigate it. Okay. Just real quick, I just want to say, I'm glad to be here as a new commissioner. My cell phone number is 417-529-4040. I'm here for the residents. Guys, call me if you're my boss, new boss now. So if there's anything I can do, let me know. And some of the format here is a little different than what I'm used to. But I'm going to learn, and I'm going to jump in here, and I'm going to learn from the residents. I'm going to learn from the people up here, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Charles?
Just concert in the park this Wednesday. Hope to see everybody there.
Pat and Jim, managers report?
I think we've covered just about everything that I had tonight.
Oh.
So congratulations to the fire company on a successful event. I'm sorry that the weather wasn't completely cooperative to them.
Mhm.
So folks, remember to support your local fire company. They can use your support.
Who won the raffle?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
I didn't, I know that.
Wasn't Jim.
I have one announcement to make regarding our emergency management coordinator.
Sure.
Brad Harrison has been officially approved by the governor's office. We received a letter from Governor Shapiro, so he is now our emergency management coordinator. Pat and I will be meeting with him to go over the rules and policies and procedures and strategies and things moving forward. One of the things also we want to do is get the emergency management plan updated. So
Great.
I've already talked to Brad about that, and he's all in. So
All right.
we're going to be meeting with him earlier this week. I think
Wednesday.
next Wednesday. Okay, next
Great.
Wednesday.
Thank you.
So I just have can I just roll right into the
Sure.
police June report? Earlier today I sent you the detailed June police report. I'll just summarize the calls for service. We had 1,337 calls for service for the month of June. 18 criminal arrests were made. 8 summary arrests were made. 29 traffic accidents were investigated. And the guys did a bang up job this time with traffic contacts, 685. So
Oh,
a
great.
busy month.
Yeah. Pat, did I skip you for sewer?
No, I don't
Nothing?
believe there's anything to report at this time.
Okay, thank you. Paul?
So this month we issued 24 permits. 6 of those were for zoning, 16 for building, 3 commercial, 13 residential. We issued 5 certificate of occupancies, 1 driveway and 1 TDU. There was 1 NOV that went out for trash, kind of STR on a road. Bears were getting into it, so kind of keep on top of that. We closed out 2 for a TDU and 1 for a junkyard. Or junk items, junkyard. The Golden Slipper we talked about earlier today. We do have another variance request. It is Scott Run Ave, the vacant lot. They are requesting a variance from the setback distance on the property. It fronts both on Scott Run Ave and 611. It's that small kind of triangle. There's a green small house on the property adjacent. They are looking to build a 2-family dwelling there. The setbacks would require 75 from both 611 and Scott Run. Those setbacks actually overlap, so it'd be impossible to do it. So they're most likely going to be granted that variance. They are asking another variance for a 2-family dwelling. So our ordinance limits the development of a single lot that is under a non-conforming lot in a district that is undersized is only allowed to be developed as a single family dwelling. They want to do a duplex. So they're requesting a variance from that requirement. They do have access to public water and sewer. So they wouldn't need an on-lot septic. So that kind of gets rid of the majority of the kind of issues regarding that. It is in the commercial zoning district. So it would be a permitted use by right if the lot was large enough. Question would be if the board wants to take a position on that, or if Leo would be joining me for that zoning hearing board.
How does the board feel? What's their lot size and what do they need?
So the commercial zoning district, the minimum lot acreage is 1. They are, I believe, 4.6 acres. So it's a rather small lot. It is
0.4?
0.46. Yes. Did I say?
4.6 acres.
0.46. Yes. So it's under half an acre. So there's not, the commercial district doesn't have a density requirement, so it doesn't limit the number of dwellings per acre. So 1 acre, they could build a 2-family, 3-family. In this case, because they're 0.46, they're limited to that 1 family or single family.
And if our new zoning had passed, the one we're working on, would this change or would it be the same?
I do not know if they would be in the C1 or C2 district there. I'd have to look at the regulations regarding that. I haven't really given that much thought.
But they are, right now they're commercial.
Yes, so they are commercial, so they would be either C1 or C2.
How does the board feel?
What's around that now? So that 24/6 is a residential and commercial zone.
So directly across 611 is the vacant lot that has the gravel that PP&L uses. It's next to the kind of crystal shop there. The adjacent property is owned by the same owner. It's rented out at the single family dwelling. There's an STR at the intersection of 611 and Scott Run. It's the kind of triangle piece there. Other than that, there's a handful of 1 and 2 families up and down Scott Run. There's a handful of offices. I believe 1 for a doctor, a psychologist, I believe.
The 5 unit goes 611 to.
I mean, the one we're talking about now.
There's the Corona Butcher is adjacent. It's not directly attached, but I believe 1 property over. So it's a mix.
Yeah.
They would be fronting right on 611. So
Yeah. Yeah.
they would have, the only variances they are requesting are the setback and then the use variance. So they would have to meet all other variances, or if they couldn't, they'd have to come and request another variance. And just for, it is 2 cars per dwelling unit is what the zoning ordinance requires. 2 cars per dwelling unit. No, your question earlier. No. That's a township zoning ordinance. That's the minimum parking spaces they need. So on average, that's going to be the number of cars you have. Around 22,000 cars per day go up and down 611. I have an update. I believe you.
I'm okay leaving it up to the zoning hearing board myself.
Any other comments from the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm okay with leaving it to the zoning hearing board.
I'm not smart enough to know it.
So beyond that, there are two investigation reports for a dangerous structure. One for 268 and then one for 3408 Route 611, or excuse me, Route 715. Also attached is the ordinance for the dangerous structure. I have highlighted some of the sections for the newer commissioners that kind of outline what responsibilities the board has. We don't have a motion today, but if the board wants to review those investigation reports, and then kind of the next meeting, we'll have it on the agenda to make a motion on how you want to move forward with those. I do know it's coming, so the Manor investigation, I'm waiting on the report from the engineer. He has to reach out to the insurance company to give the okay to release it to us, and then you'll get that report.
Is one of these a trailer on 715?
Yes, so 3408 is a trailer, and then 268 Laurel Lake is the garage that the tree came down on. And then there's, in the investigation report, it goes over details, our findings, and then there's some photos in the back.
So you don't need us to do anything. It's just going to come up on the agenda next time.
Next meeting, we'll most likely have it as motions on the agenda and then the ordinance kind of outlines the cases of what the board would like to move forward. So order it repaired, order it vacated, order it demolished, those kind of things. And that's section 382-7.
Thank you.
Right.
Does anybody have anything else for Paul?
Thanks.
John?
Thank you, Ellen. I don't have a lot to report. The TLC bridge, the wing walls and abutments have been completed. I'm trying to get a delivery date on the bridge structure itself. I've requested that twice now, so I'm still waiting to hear. And the other thing we've been working on was the Staden Road grant application, but other than that, it's been pretty quiet.
Okay,
If
nothing.
anyone has any questions, I can.
Yeah, the solar farm with all the rain, nothing.
Not a word. I haven't heard anything about where they stand with their fines or where they stand with the repairs that DEP has mandated. But as soon as I hear something, I'll let you know.
Are we still inspecting them or?
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as the conservation district is inspecting, we're inspecting. Now they've completed the installation of all their hardware. So there's no more inspection on that, but we're still keeping an eye on site conditions until they get everything 100% established and they get the repairs done to the two detention basins that DEP has questions on.
I did have a question. I don't know if it's for you or Pat, but the hole that was in the bridge is fixed, but who fixed it? I don't remember.
Build all contracting.
Build all. Because I was out there with a resident walking it, and I guess I don't know how much it cost us to do that, so I don't remember.
Yeah, it was an emergency repair. I'll get that number for you.
Okay, because it looks like it wasn't really a masonry job. It was just like a patch job, right?
No, it was masonry. Yeah, it was done with masonry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I haven't seen the final product, but my road foreman, Jim Loyson, was out there
Okay.
and he looked at it. I can stop. I'm due to stop out
If you
there.
want to look, because I was told, and I don't know anything about it, right? Because I don't know, that some of the stone was peel and stick, and I thought it was real stone. It should be real stone. So I don't know, but I'm just, if we paid for real stone, I want real stone.
I will look at it.
Yeah, the top row, right under the blue thing. Leo.
Thank you, Ellen. Unless there are questions, I have nothing to report on this evening.
Anybody have anything for Leo? No. With that, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.